Hey, hey, welcome back to another week of moving to Georgia. I am Sarah Maslowski, your North Metro Atlanta real estate agent. I am happy to be here with you today to kind of give you all the ins and outs of what is currently happening in the market over the past couple of weeks and what you can expect in the months and weeks ahead if you are considering making a move here to Georgia. So, if you have any questions about the real estate market, comments, concerns, let me know. Now is the time when we are going to be answering those questions and getting into it. If you're joining us here on the show, let me know where you're watching from. I always love to know how far we're reaching and where you are watching me from and how you found me. So let me know in the comments. I would love to say hello. And of course, if you have any burning questions, let's go ahead and get to those as well. So put those in the comments. So gosh, y'all, this past couple of weeks working with buyers in the real estate market has been very weird. So it almost feels like in some areas we are back in a pandemic type market. And so I don't mean that or don't share that to scare you, but it's really kind of strange right now. Inventory is up, but it's still really, really low compared to what it normally is in a normal market. And when we say normal market, we haven't had a normal market here in the Metro Atlanta area since like 2019. So that is a long time ago since we've had a normal market. So we're going to get into some data and I'm going to show you different areas and what housing is doing, what prices are doing, and kind of share with you some stories that I've experienced with buyers and sellers over the past couple of weeks. And I would love to hear from you what you are experiencing in your market and if things are as crazy as they are here in the Metro Atlanta area. John is watching us from Western Washington State. Welcome, John. I'm happy you're tuning in and watching tonight. I appreciate it. So, I have to tell y'all one of the craziest things I think that has ever happened to me in real estate. And again, I've encountered a ton of different scenarios and experiences, but this was the first time I've ever experienced this. And so we recently had some great buyers that were coming into town to see this very specific home. The Truth is joining us again this week. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. So I had these great buyers found me here on YouTube, and they were keeping their eye on this very specific house that had been on the market for a couple of months. It fit a lot of their criteria, and I was starting to feel like, hey, this market is starting to heat up, and we were waiting for them to be able to sell their house. And their plan was for them to put their home on the market in May. And the more I kept feeling things kind of changing and shifting in the market and things really heating up, I was like, oh, I don't know that this house is going to make it until May. I think likely it's going to be under contract. So I called and had a conversation with the listing agent and said, hey, had some really great buyers that are really loving this home and just want to check in on the activity. And she was like, well, showings have picked up quite a bit here the past couple of weeks. I don't think that, I think we're probably going to be under contract really soon. So I called my buyers up and I was like, hey, if there's any way possible that you can scoot down here a little bit sooner and come see this house, I really think it's worth a special trip into town just to come see it because I don't think that this one is going to be there whenever they had their trip originally planned to come into town. So we come into town and we see the house, love the house. It still checks all the boxes. And lo and behold, another buyer had just made an offer on that home as well. So I called the agent. I'm like, hey, wait, I think we're going to be submitting an offer on this. So we submit an offer. Long story, we go under contract. Woo, win the house for the buyers. They came in at the perfect time, got some good terms, got the home under contract. We go through the home inspection, smooth sailing, right? And then I get a phone call from a real estate agent here. And they say, hey, this is so-and-so. I need for you to call me back. And I was like, this is strange. So I call him back and he's like, hey, I'm calling you about 123 Main Street. I have some buyers that are really interested in this home. And I'm like, you have some buyers. My buyers are under contract on this home. So he was telling me, he's like, has the listing agent reached out to you? And I'm like, no, the listing agent hasn't reached out to me. We have a contract on this house. This agent and his buyer were wanting to buy us out of our contract. They were wanting to pay my buyer a sum of money and the seller a sum of money to break our contract so that his buyers could go under contract. And it wasn't just a little bit of money, y'all. It was a lot of money. And so I've never had this happen before. Now, it is legal for, let's say, my buyer to solicit offers or someone take over or assume our contract, but this wasn't what was happening. We had another agent with another buyer wanting to essentially pay us to walk away so that they could get the house. Again, I've never had that happen. So my conversation back to my buyer was, hey, here's this opportunity, and it's going to be really hard to find a replacement home like this. Good news is you picked a great house and a lot of people want it. So long story short, we didn't go with that offer or take them up on that offer because my clients really love this house and they were really, really happy to have it under contract. So that is where we stand. And that's the craziest thing that's ever happened. And I'm just curious to know if anything like that, if you've ever heard of anything like that. I've had other personal friends, when we lived in some different towns, say that they've sold their house just from someone knocking on the door saying, hey, I love your house. Is there a price at which you would sell it? They've sold houses that way before. And yet I've never encountered this scenario with a buyer. So that is kind of indicative of if you have a really good house that's in really good shape and it photographs really well right now in the metro Atlanta market, it is going to sell really quickly. So welcome, Trisha. Thanks for joining us right here in Gainesville, where I am as well. The weather has turned gloriously beautiful here. The past couple of days have been in the 80s. I was out this weekend and got a little bit of sunburn. I was like, whew, haven't felt that since last year. So if you are planning a trip to Georgia anytime soon, now is a perfect time of year to come in and see all of the beauty and glory that is North Georgia this time of year. So if you're just joining us here on the live stream, if you have any questions about making a move or what's going on in the market, let me know. I have a funny story. I was with some clients who are moving from South Florida. We were out checking a house, and this was about 2 weeks ago. The leaves are just now starting to like fully come in on all the trees, right? And at this 2 weeks ago, there was like a few leaves out on some of the trees, but not like as robust as what it is right now. So we're standing on this back deck and we're looking at the beautiful kind of wooded area behind the house. And it's mostly just, tree trunks and sticks right now because there weren't any leaves. And mind you, these clients are from Miami. And so they said, hey, do these trees get leaves? And I was like, yeah, they do. Like, this isn't how it's going to look. In just a few weeks, you won't be able to see your neighbors. And so that really tickled me because I forgot, for someone that has grown up or only lived in like South Florida, in Miami, where you only have palm trees. Yeah, this is completely different landscape and scenery. So that was super, super interesting to me. I always love learning things from my clients that are not normal to where they are coming from. All right. So I promised, yeah, funny, right, Trisha? Just things that we take for granted. I had some other clients from California, I believe that's where they were from, told me that they were surprised here in Georgia how many left turn signals we have here in Georgia. So whenever you go up to your red light and you can get into the turning lane to turn left, and you oftentimes will have a green arrow letting you turn left. I didn't know. I thought that was just commonplace all across America. I guess it's not. Okay. So I promised you that I would dig into what's happening right now in the Georgia real estate market. So I shared with you the story of my buyers who were trying to, somebody else wanted to buy them out of their contract. That is indicative of what is happening right now in the real estate market. So, we had some great clients here over the past couple of weeks that we were trying to help find a really great home in the Swanee Alpharetta area. And the craziest things happened, and yet we lost out for these buyers, but we finally found the one and got it landed. But it took us 3 contracts or 3 different offers to get them a home under contract. And unfortunately or fortunately for the sellers, for these buyers, these were all cash buyers at a great price point. We could waive a lot of financing and appraisal contingencies. We had an incredibly short due diligence period, and that's like the time period that you have to get an inspection done on the home. And so, one thing that you should note is that when you are a private client of mine and you are working with myself and my team, we work with some excellent vendors and home inspectors that really prioritize our business. So we're able to get a home inspection for our private clients usually the very next day that they go under contract on a home. So we're able to negotiate those really quick due diligence periods so that everyone's protected and we can make aggressive offers. Unfortunately, all my tricks did not work for the past couple of contracts. And we finally got one under contract, but it really, really reminded me of how things were during the pandemic. Lots of multiple offers. We had another client this past weekend in a very competitive area. And again, we were multiple offers, one of 13 offers on this house. And I believe the listing agent said that all 13 offers were over asking price. And in this case, this home I know sold for more than $25,000-$30,000 over asking because we were very, very close to that and we lost out. And I know that we were in the top 3. So that is something to consider. Jinmi is tuning in for the first time. Welcome. I'd love to know how you found me. We have a great agent partner that covers the Evans and Martinez area over in Augusta. I actually lived there for a short time period. Love that area, lots of great options. And so we will definitely get you connected. If you'll look at the pinned comment or my contact information below this video, you'll see a link where you can connect with me and I'll make sure that you get in contact with someone, a really great trusted agent partner that is really good in that area and that will give you the great same service that I would. So good question. So multiple offers are definitely back here in Georgia. And you might be thinking, but wait, Sarah, I'm watching the market, I'm watching Zillow, and I keep seeing price drops on homes. What's the deal? So right now, what I'm seeing is it is a tale of 2 different markets. The homes that you are seeing have price drops, either they're overpriced or they're overpriced for the condition of the home. If your home has really great photos, is in really great condition, staged well, great decor, the walls are a nice neutral color, that home is going to sell very quickly for multiple offers. The homes that we're seeing sit on the market and take a little bit longer to sell, or the ones that have price drops, are the ones that, need a little bit of cosmetic work. Maybe they're a little bit overpriced. Those homes are sitting on the market. So you got to put yourself in the buyer's shoes or in the seller's shoes, rather, whenever you are going to be a potential buyer here and know that the good ones are going to go very, very fast. And sometimes it takes my clients, so despite my great counsel, right? Sometimes it takes them a few times to realize, oh, that home sold for multiple offers over asking price. So one of the things that I do for you when you're a private client of ours is we're going to have a strategy session and dig into exactly what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with. I'm going to give you the lay of the land and help you understand what to expect in the area that you're looking. So that is definitely something that is going to help make the best use of your time and to help get you into the home that you want in the time frame that you want. So again, if you're thinking about making a move here to Georgia, and especially here in the North Metro Atlanta area, let me know any comments or questions that you may have in the comments, and we'll make sure to answer that. I wanted to share with you some information that is directly from the MLS system to kind of show you over the past month what has been happening here and how the market is reacting. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's see here. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. go back over here and take off this banner so that we can see. Right now, what you're looking at is uh, information from the entire MLS system that one of our big MLS systems covers. We're going to get a little bit more granular because this is just too broad of an area. So I'm going to go take you to Swanee, which is the town that I was telling you that has a ton of multiple offers right now. So this is over the past 3 years. If we take this back down to, let's just look at what things have been doing over the past year. You'll see that the sales price is up 4% compared to last year. The average price of a home in Swanee is $589. But the most important thing that we need to look at is the month supply of inventory on the market. So what this means is this is how long is it taking homes to sell, or how long would it take us to run through all of the available inventory if no new buyers came on the market? So like if we just freeze the market right now, how long would it take to sell all of the homes in Swanee? And what we're seeing right now is that is going to take 1.3 months. Now, a normal market, a balanced market, is between 4 to 6 months. So you can see that we're way undersupplied with the amount of homes that we have for the amount of buyers that we have. And I know that you're looking at this chart and you're saying, but wait, I see that this is up 8.3% compared to last year. 100% correct. We are seeing more homes hit the market, which is great news. The challenge, though, is that we don't have enough homes to meet the current demand of all the buyers that we have. We are still trying to catch up to pre-pandemic levels. So if we go back to 2019, let's see here, in March of 2019, there was a 3-month supply of homes on the market in Swanee. If we fast forward to today, in March, 1.3. So like that's a third of the homes that are typically available for sale. This is why you are not seeing home prices drop despite interest rates, which we're going to get into that. So I think this is just very, very important for you to know, because a lot of clients that I've spoken to recently, they're like, hey, we're waiting for a deal, or I'm not going to pay $200,000 more than what someone paid for a home in 2019 or 2020. I'm sorry, that is the market that we are in today, and it is the market that we are going to be in for a long time. Um, it just may not be the right time for you to buy a house, and you just have to make peace with the fact that it might be years or longer, or maybe never for homes to go back down. We've just seen a lot of home price appreciation here in the Metro Atlanta area. And as you can see, home prices are not going to go down. So let's look at some other areas besides Swanee. So one area that we serve a lot of clients in is in the town of Gainesville. So Gainesville, over the past couple of years, has gotten a lot better. Not that it was ever bad, but there's just a lot more that's developed now in Gainesville, a lot more local restaurants. And you can see that the inventory level in Gainesville is a lot more than that of Swanee. So we've got almost 3 months supply of inventory here in Gainesville, a lot more inventory than what we had last year. And so that means that there's more homes that are available for buyers to choose from. You don't have to make a decision as quickly. Another popular area that we serve a lot of clients in is Alpharetta, really great town. And they too have a really tight market, not as tight as Swanee, surprisingly. So let's just kind of compare prices between these three cities. So the average price of a home the median sales price of a home in Swanee is $589,000. That's up 4% compared to last year. Gainesville is at $387,500. That's also up almost 5% compared to last year. And then Alpharetta's is $700,000, and that is up 8% compared to last year. So waiting for these deals to happen, it's not going to happen. Let's take a look at, this is a really important stat, and that's the percent of list price that someone is paying for a home. So this is indicative of how competitive it is in the areas that you may be considering making or moving to. So if you look at Swanee, Swanee is, the median is 100% of asking price. So what that means is that you have half of the people that are paying more than 100% of the list price. So they're paying over asking. And you also have half of the people that are paying below asking as well. So again, tale of two markets, right? Um, Also in Gainesville, on average or median is 98% of list price. And then Alpharetta again is 100% of list price. So, and if you look at this, Swanee is actually a little bit more competitive this past March compared to a year ago. And so this again is just an indicator of how much demand we have for homes here. So, if you're watching this and you're thinking, gosh, I don't know that I want to get into this. Well, the good news is that we have a long track record of having a lot of people move to the area and want to be here. It's a thriving metropolitan area with lots of growth, lots of development, lots of job opportunities, and home prices appreciate really well here. There's still a lot of great opportunity to buy a home here in the metro Atlanta area. You just have to be realistic and know exactly what you want, what you're willing to do for that home, and what you're not willing to do for that home. So, um, those are just some of the areas. And I think another stat that's interesting to take a look at is the average days on market. So this is how long is it taking for a home once it hits the market to get a contract on it and go under contract. You'll see Swanee is 10 days on the market, Gainesville 27. So if you're a buyer and you're thinking about buying a home in Gainesville, you don't have to move as quickly. Now, again, some of the great homes are still going to sell pretty quickly, but they're not moving as fast as they are in Swanee or Alpharetta. You'll see Alpharetta 7 days on the market. Let's take a look at another great area that we serve, and that is the city of Cumming. You'll see Cumming, average days on market is 6. They have, let's see how much month supply. Cumming is just under 2 months supply. And if we look at the percent of list price, it's also at 100% of list price. So let's look at the sales price in Cumming, $610,000. So I tell people that Cumming is usually a little bit more affordable than Alpharetta, but it's not that much more affordable when you look at the average or the median sales price of a home there. So lots of good information for y'all to keep in mind. And this is the busy time of year, right? We see and expect a lot of buyers to be out in the market right now. It's also the time period when we typically have the most amount of um, listings available on the market as well, because things that you should know here, if you're thinking about moving to Georgia and you have kids that are in school, schools get out here usually the last week of May, and then school starts at the very beginning of August. Usually within that first week of August is the start date for the school systems. So that means that if you're planning on making a move, you really need to make sure that you're under contract on a home by June so that you can move in July and get your kids to school beginning of August. And so this is why kind of like the prime selling season is right now here in Georgia. We're kind of at our peak. Let's see here, the truth. You're in the Northeast. You've had 2 earthquakes in the last 10 years. It's rare. My question is, do you have any major, maybe like major earth events, weather events that happen here in Georgia? Okay, so I've never felt an earthquake. I kind of secretly want to. They seem pretty cool. Like I don't want anything to get hurt, but I just want to feel a tremble. So I've never felt that here in Georgia, although it's rare. I think there has been one that's happened, but I didn't feel it. We do have tornadoes, and yet, um, my opinion is that they're still kind of rare. So they do happen. We do have strong thunderstorms here, lots of wind, lots of rain, lots of thunder, which I've learned from my California friends that that's really rare out there. I was actually recently in Texas for a conference, and the biggest thunderstorm came through that morning, like early in the morning. It was like 3 a.m. and it woke me up. And I have not heard thunder like that since I lived in South Georgia. I mean, it was like a massive, big, huge, booming, you know, thunder. And, but anyways, so yes, we occasionally have really big storms like that. And you can experience some tornadoes, and yet it's rare. I've lived in Georgia my whole life, never experienced a tornado. Definitely experienced some bad weather though. But that's really the only thing you have to worry about. We do get residual rainfall from hurricanes in Florida, but because it's North Metro Atlanta area, by the time it gets up here, it's just rain. Occasionally some strong winds. Um, Occasionally we get a flurry or two of snow in the winter, and that's about it, which makes Georgia such a great place to consider moving to, because we don't have, high insurance rates like they do in Florida or California because of the natural disasters there. I think that's the word I was trying to look for earlier. Watching from Cape Coral, Florida, looking to make a move to North Georgia. Is there land under 3 acres available? Yes, and that's really going to depend on where you're looking, what type of land you're looking for, and your price point. So just know that the closer you are to Atlanta and the metro Atlanta suburbs, the more expensive land is, and the more further you get out from the metro Atlanta area, the more affordable it becomes. So I would love to help you. And if it's not an area or my expertise, I have some really, really great agent partners that I can connect you with that can help. John, listing his house here, hitting the market in the next week. Prices were down a little over the past few months ago, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah. That is, all areas are different. So it's really, really important for you to know that if you're thinking about making a move anywhere in the US and you're switching kind of like locations, the market that you're in for your hometown may not be the market that you're moving to. And so it's really, really important to get connected with someone that's really great, that knows the local market and can tell you exactly what to experience. Because if you're thinking about making a move to Evans, Georgia, it may not be that strong of a seller's market there. And you may be able to negotiate, a really good deal here. Whereas if you're telling me that you're moving to Swanee, I would tell you something drastically different. Jane from Punta Gorda, Florida. I'm so concerned that if I wait a year to buy, I'll be priced out of the market. Yes, that is very much a reality. And just to be honest with you, so what I'm finding with clients that are either waiting, either because of circumstances where they have to wait, or because they're choosing to wait. Yes, this is very much a reality and it can happen. There's always solutions though. So sometimes that solution is going a little bit further out from where you're originally looking. And then sometimes the solution is, hey, maybe we're looking at a little bit of a smaller house than what we thought, or I know that you really wanted a basement, but we can't get a basement for that price anymore. So that's something to consider. If you have the ability to buy ahead of time, we can talk about what does it look like renting your house out for a year until you're ready to move. But there's all kinds of life circumstances, right, that get in the way. And sometimes the timing just has to be right. And, let the chips fall where they may, and we'll put together a really good strategy that works for your time frame. So if you are just joining us here on the live stream, say hello, tell me where you're watching from. If you have any questions about making a move, I would love to answer your questions and help. Or if you have any comments or you disagree with me, let me know. Also, if you're just joining us for the first time and you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do that. It helps you get notified every single time we post a brand new video about the Metro Atlanta area and things that you need to know if you're considering making a move. And if you have any suggestions for a video for me, let me know. We always love getting really great suggestions from clients and viewers just like you, because sometimes we run out of ideas, or, occasionally a client will ask a question. It's like, that's a great idea for a video. We need to make one on that. Yeah, so let me know if you have any questions or comments. John said that looking at the Mountain Park, Lilburn area, hopefully a little less competition than north of 85. Yes, a lot of things that will kind of drive that too is going to be the school district. So you have some areas of Lilburn that is really zoned for really great schools. And then you have some that are still good, but just not as great. And those are a little bit less competitive. So that's something to keep in mind. Oh, good question, Jane. Do most homes have attics just in case I have to go up a basement or give up a basement? Yes, we do have attics. So every house here in Georgia has to, by code, have attic access. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can store stuff in the attic, but I would say majority of the homes do have drop down attic access where the stairs fold down. Yes, so most homes do have that. Rarely you'll see a little scuttle hole, where you have to pick up and move out the wall and have a ladder that you put up there, but that's more rare. It is more common to have the drop down, and you'll have that even if you have a home on a basement. So if you have both of those, both of them. I grew up in a home with an attic and we didn't have a basement, and that's where we stored. That's where we stored Christmas and stuff like that. And funny story, whenever we moved, my husband and I, we lived in Brunswick, Georgia, and moved up here to North Georgia, Gainesville area. Gosh, almost 10 years ago now. Um, we moved at Christmas time. And so we sold our house in Brunswick. And because I knew that we were selling our house and we were putting it on the market in December, I didn't even put up my Christmas tree that year. And so we moved over Christmas, got up here to this area, and then, the year goes round, right? And it's November, December, and I'm getting ready to put up the tree. And I'm like, hey, where's our Christmas tree? And Tom's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? And I was like, where could it be? And he's like, oh my gosh, we never got it down from the attic in our old house. So those great buyers got a great house and a really great Christmas tree. It was like one of those ones where I got such a good deal on it from like a clearance of like Lowe's. And it was like really great artificial tree. I'm still bitter about it because I haven't been able to find as good a tree as that one that we forgot. Thank God, though, our ornaments weren't up there. So we still had all the ornaments. So John said, what are some things your buyers regretted taking up packing space to bring with them to Georgia? Yeah, that's a good thing. So one of the things that I've learned from helping so many clients relocate across the country and move things is that it's expensive. It is very expensive if you are hiring movers to move things. And oftentimes, I think the biggest thing that I have challenges with clients is um, sometimes with clients that are downsizing, you have to know that if you're wanting to seek out a downsize type home, most of the rooms are going to be a little bit smaller, which means that they likely may not fit the exact furniture that you currently have. Now, outside of something being like an antique that has a lot of sentimental value, sometimes I'll have some buyers say, yeah, this home isn't going to work for us. It's not going to fit our bedroom furniture. And then the next house we go to, yeah, it's not going to fit our dresser and our furniture setup. And then it happens again at the next house. And so it's like, would it be cheaper to just maybe sell our old furniture and get some new furniture that does fit the space rather than having to pay more for a house or find a bigger home to fit the furniture? That's oftentimes the hang up that I see a lot of buyers get caught up in, and maybe make a mistake in there is trying to find the house to fit the furniture rather than the furniture or the house to fit their price point budget where they want to be, and then make adjustments to their physical things. Um, but because things are so expensive moving them across the country, again, like unless it's something that has like strong sentimental value or something that you just really love, it may not be worth, hauling that $100 thing if you don't really need it anymore. And when I say $100 thing, you probably paid a lot more for it, right? Because furniture these days do not hold their value. So if you were to sell it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, you would get $100 for it. But then you have to consider the replacement cost. There's just a lot. But for most of my clients, the key things that I've heard from them whenever they're making that move is that they either wish they would have brought less, or they did. They just got rid of almost a lot of stuff so that they could move with as least amount of things as possible. Carl, have you ever thought about allowing your viewers to question you on an open mic instead of text? Well, I don't know of a service that lets you do that. So if you do, let me know. Open to learning more and creating a great experience. I do set up consultations and Zooms privately with all of my clients as well. So if there's not questions that aren't being answered here, I'd love to set up a time to talk with you off camera. But yeah, I don't know of a service on Zoom, or not Zoom. This is YouTube, that allows viewers to ask questions like that. So I like the idea though. So if you know of something, let me know and I'm happy to research that a little bit more. So one of the things that inventory is low right now, and that's a challenge for buyers who are interested in resale. But one of the opportunities that we have right now is that there are some opportunities in new construction. So I'm going to share with you some data, and this is on a national scale. So this is the number of new construction homes nationally that have been available for sale since 2017. And you can see between like 2019 to 2022, we had a huge decline of homes, new construction homes that were available that builders were building. And so we kind of been like on this decline of builders pulling back from building houses. Um, and you can kind of see 2021, 2022, they kind of caught on like, hey, we need more new construction homes. There's a huge market right now. There's not enough supply, and we can build the supply. So the great news is that we're starting to see more builders put out more new construction inventory. Again, we're still historically very, very low from where we need to be. Um, One of the things that I've learned is that when the recession happened in 2007, 2008, tons of builders either went under, got out, and they said, hey, this just isn't worth it anymore, or they essentially just, lost their businesses. And banks have made it so much tougher for builders to have access to capital that a lot of your smaller builders just went away. And so they, contributed a ton of new builds to the market. When you get rid of all of the small builders, um, you take away all the inventory, that kind of represents a significant amount of inventory. So good news is builders are starting to build more. And one of the things that I'm seeing right now in the market is not only are you having access to new builds, but you're also getting usually some access to some great incentives. So I am just put some clients under contract yesterday. They're moving from California here to Georgia. We had like a tight-ish budget and they wanted a new construction home. The great news is they were flexible on where they could live. And so we were able to find them a new construction home with a 4.99% interest rate. That is huge. And $5,000 in closing cost. So that made this home so affordable for them. And that's a fixed permanent 30-year rate. That's not like a 2-1 buy down or anything like that. So if new construction is your thing and you're looking for something to make the home buying process a little bit more affordable, new construction might be the option for you. And we can talk a little bit more about that. But what we've seen is that in this national study, according to an article from Housing Wire, they saw that sales incentives increased a little bit from February to March, and that a lot of builders are still utilizing these sales incentives. And so we're typically seeing that in either rate buy downs, like my buyer that's getting the 4.99%, or closing costs, or a combination of both. Or some builders are just saying, hey, here's $25,000. You can use it however you want. And that's also really good. So a lot of good opportunity there. This map shows you the change in inventory overall across the nation for both new construction and resale year over year. And this just kind of goes back to me talking about how we are starting to see more homes hit the market, and yet it's still low. But on average, we're seeing about 24% more homes hit the market this year compared to last year. So, according to realtor.com, they were saying that for the first 3 months of this year, the inventory of homes was at its highest level since 2020. However, if we look at the past 3 years, we're still down almost 40% compared with typical 2017 to 2019 levels. That's a huge amount. And then you also see that the growth in home prices and the growth in homes, particularly priced in 200,000 to 350 range, outpaced all other price categories. So that's a good point of something for us to talk about is if you are in a lower price point, those homes typically are going to be the ones that move the fastest. So we really need to have a really good strategy around that. And again, it all depends on the area as well. So something to keep in mind. And the one thing I love is a really, really great challenge. So when you're a private client of mine, one of the things that we do is if there's a particular neighborhood that you want to be in, we will hunt down and find you an off-market opportunity. And so that's a service that we provide for our clients at no additional cost. And then, we make phone calls, knock on doors, send mailers to find you opportunities. Jane asked, have the cicadas arrived in Georgia yet? They have not, but we are starting to hear the frogs at night and the crickets. So I just love that sound of being outdoors. Sounds really, really great. And spring is here, and you'll hear that all throughout spring, summer, but the cicadas have not happened yet. So the cicadas make this really big buzzing sound in the background. And I think I actually have a video of it on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I made a video of that sound, and that was in summer last year because I knew that would be good for y'all to hear. Let's see here. John said, I've heard of a Costco coming to Stone Mountain. How does that kind of anchor affect a market before and while it's being built? That's a good one. I don't know that I've heard. I'll have to do some research into that because I don't think that's hit my radar yet. But if so, that's big. I mean, there's not that many Costco's in the Metro Atlanta area. You do have one in Beaufort, and you have one in Cumming, and then you have some a little bit closer into the city. But a lot of people are really, really loyal to Costco. We have plenty of Sam's Club, but there's a big divide, right? I guess like some people are like Publix shoppers or Kroger shopper. I'm a Publix shopper. You have like your loyalty to your grocery store, and I guess you have your loyalty to your wholesale club retailer. So I've not heard that. It definitely will help, and yet the Stone Mountain area, it's really has a lot of older homes, and so you have some neighborhoods that have been kept up with really well, and then you have some neighborhoods that need a lot of help. So that would be something to keep in mind. I think it's going to help, but I don't know that it's necessarily going to cause all the existing inventory to kind of appreciate. I would think that the areas around Stone Mountain would also greatly benefit from it, because instead of having to drive 45 minutes to get to a Costco, you'll be maybe 20 minutes away. So good thing to point out. Can I make a video about vacationing in Georgia? That's a good question. Georgia isn't much of a vacation destination, although you can enjoy the North Georgia mountains. And I take that back. I remember as a kid, we came to Atlanta a couple of times and did like all the Atlanta things. We went to a Braves game, the Coca-Cola Museum, the aquarium, and that was a lot of fun. Good question, Jane. Are a lot of LLCs buying up the market for rentals? So Atlanta was one of the Metro Atlanta area was one of the biggest markets for big hedge fund investment companies to come in and buy up a lot of inventory. At one point, like 1 out of every 3 homes that were sold in the Metro Atlanta area were being sold to an investment company that were turning around and putting these homes up for rent. And the scary thing is that these investment companies, they're not just going to like flip them and sell them, or they're not going to rent them for just a year or two. They're going to hold on to these suckers for a really long time. So it's kind of like lost inventory that's never making its way back to the market. And another thing that we are starting to see are these build to rent communities coming up. So they're building one not too far, or I drive past it every day on my way to my office, and it's a brand new community. So, 150 new construction homes built solely just to rent them out. So it's, like D.R. Horton is building a neighborhood, and it's only going to be rental properties. So that's, again, it provides a need because there's a huge demand for rentals because home prices are so expensive, but it's kind of like a catch-22, right? The less homes there are for sale and for people to buy, the more expensive homes get, and it's a hamster wheel. So that is, something to keep in mind. Now, this also brings up a good point. I've gotten quite a few phone calls lately from clients wanting to talk about or asking like, hey, we want to buy an investment property in the Metro Atlanta area because we've heard it's so good. We know that Alpharetta has really great schools. we want to buy there. And then we start talking about the budget. And then they start looking at numbers of how much the homes are, how much the rent is, how much they have to put down. And they're like, hey, these numbers don't quite work. And I'm here to tell you that, yeah, they might not work right now. And that's just because whenever you're buying an investment property, you're going to have to put down 25%, unless you're doing hard money lending or something like that. Um, Although rental rates are really high right now, property taxes are high, the interest rates are really high. And unless you're putting a significant amount down on the property, it's kind of hard to cash flow, especially in highly sought after areas like this. But don't make the mistake. Pretty much anywhere in the metro Atlanta area is a good rental market. You can throw a dart towards Atlanta and anywhere around that dart lands, you're not going to have a hard time buying a rental property to rent. There is a huge, huge demand for them here in the area, anywhere. And so we had a viewer client, email in saying, hey, they were thinking about buying an investment property and they see good home prices over in Brazelton, but they didn't feel like that was a good area and it's not close to jobs and um, it's not in like a highly rated school district. And I was like, Y'all, this is, um, you know, a great area to buy in. If you look, there's tons of neighborhoods and development happening here. There's tons of jobs. And all of this growth and development would not be happening in places that developers or companies or corporations would be considered not growing or dead. They wouldn't invest all that money there. So don't get caught up on the shiny object of what's a great place to buy a rental. There are tons of great places. You really can't go wrong. And there's just such a strong demand for rentals here in the metro Atlanta area. Um, the truth says, I want life of two worlds in one location. Is there any place in Georgia where palm trees will survive the winter? Yeah. So, I mean, I've shown homes with palm trees. You don't see them too often. Definitely you're gonna have to pay and bring them in because they're definitely not natural here. But we don't get very many hard freezes here. Like I said, occasionally it might snow, but I've seen plenty of homes with pools and, people put palm trees in there. So they can definitely, um, survive. All right. Well, um, if y'all are thinking about making a move to Georgia or have any questions or want to talk about anything more about a potential move or what it's like here, you can find my contact information below this video. There's going to be a link there to book a call with me. Go ahead and click on that and we will get connected. And I look forward to helping you and answering all of your questions. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe. You'll get notified every time we put out a new video, which is every single Monday on the metro Atlanta area. You can also join me over on social media, Instagram. I'm giving you all the information on the latest and greatest of what's happening here in the metro Atlanta area, new restaurants, my favorite taco places. So go find me over on Instagram and let's connect. You'll find me there. It's Sarah Maslowski Realtor. That is not the best name for a real estate agent, and yet it's the one that I married with or into. So go find me over there and connect. But I would love to stay connected with you. And again, if you're thinking about making a move, reach out, let's connect. We'll set up a time to talk and work through everything. And if there's a question that I didn't get to today, either you can email that in or join me on the next live stream. We do these the first and third Wednesday of every single month. In the meantime, I am going to be busy working for all the great clients that I'm currently working with that have found me just like you did right here on YouTube. So I will see y'all on Monday. Won't be live. And I'll see you next time that we are live together. Thank y'all for asking all the great questions tonight.